G'day legends, welcome back to Roadside presented by Zwift. We are here as part of our summer cycling coverage and it has begun. The thing that everyone loves here in Australia. We've got Nationals, we've got TDU, Cadell's, all the rest of it, and this year in 2026, our summer coverage is brought to you by Society, a brand new sponsor that we've connected with, and we'll tell you a little bit more on that soon, but we're in for a huge episode, Tommy. It's our mega Nationals preview.
Yeah, it certainly is. We're going to be previewing the Criterium, the individual time trial, the road races for, yes, under 19, under 23, the Elites. We're going to do the whole hog. We're not going to leave anything untouched there. You're going to give the hot tips, or you think you're going to give the hot tips, at least for the podiums anyway. I wouldn't want to use you as a betting guide. But we're going to discuss maybe what we expect from these sort of races over the course of, what's going to be a brilliant second year of Nationals in Perth.
That's right, yeah. So it is back again in Western Australia. We're very excited. We are Perth-based as well, so we very much love it here. Mm-hmm. We're going to timestamp everything as well. So in the show notes for YouTube and podcast, you'll be able to go down and see what time we're talking about U19, crits, the elite women's road races, etc. So you can skip ahead if you need to.
You shouldn't have to though, because if you're coming across to Nationals, mate, you are just going to be locked in for every day of racing.
Yeah. What else?
Obviously, unless you need to put your feet up to it for your actual race, but get down, watch the under 23 men on a Saturday.
Yeah, you're in the bloody recovery boots. Yeah. Put us in there, or watch us on the TV as well. Yep. The start list. Now, only this morning we were given the start list. Nobody else has them. Of course, we're commentating on the venue site at Nationals, so we are given the start list for need, but they're not complete yet. So we're missing the U19s and no time trial confirmed start. So it'll be a little wishy-washy there, but we'll pick our make our picks that are concerned from last year's results. But you getting this start list, Tom. I don't understand why it's so hard. Why do they make these start lists so secretive? Because the entry's closed on the 23rd of December, and I messaged Matt Keenan. I said, hey, have SBS been given the start list? Because maybe they've been chipped across, right? Yep. And he says, look, I'll be happy if we get them before the time trial on Wednesday. So, I don't know why. It's a very secretive thing, the start list, but we managed to get hold of the current and, we'll give you guys the best info that we've got.
Yeah, we'll fly with whatever we can here at the moment. It is a strange one. I don't get it. Like, it's not exactly like a professional race. It's a national champs. So I don't understand why.
It's bizarre. Not sure why, but a bit of housekeeping.
If someone knows, let us know.
Yes, if someone does know, that would be, good call. Bit of housekeeping. Our daily coverage will be during Nationals. So every day, after the day's racing has been completed, Tom and I will be straight onto this, sitting somewhere in the park or somewhere by the Criterium, recording the pod, then we'll upload it. So couple hours after the last event, you will see our pods in your feed or on YouTube a little bit later for the Criterium, because obviously the last race finishes around about 6:30.
Well, to be honest, Sunday finishes on Super Sunday is going to finish at 7 o'clock on the run sheet that we've been given. So
the Sunday
we'll be in the
Monday's
pub, mate.
Pod.
We'll be in the pub. We'll be divulging the days.
But the point is the Criterium will be late Friday night, probably 8 o'clock, 8:30. And the road race on Sunday, the wrap-up, of course, that'll come on Monday. I'll grind that out before work. Thanks, everyone, as well, who's joined into the podcast, joined Roadside from our Brady Gilmore and Ben O'Connor episodes. Very well received. And quickly, I'll have to say, after the TPR days, Tommy, I was cooked with doing rider interviews. I just didn't. I told you so many times, I'm just not interested in doing them anymore because it was a lot of work. But this has reignited the fire, being these last two.
Yeah, it was good. A few good stories to come out of it. Obviously both those riders that we were fortunate enough to have a chat with, they came from sort of different pathways. Yeah. But, look, we're glad to hear the feedback. Bit of humour in there as well. Trying to keep it lighthearted. Not all seriousness, is it, at the end of the day? So we'll try and do a few more if we can.
We will. We certainly will, particularly around the Aussie summer. Final thing before we get into it, the reason why we can do the daily pods, before we can leave our jobs for a month essentially and do Tour Down Under and make them all for you, is because we have great sponsors, FE Sports, Zwift as well, but our big summer sponsor is Society. Who are they? They are a cycling apparel company based out of WA, Tommy, like us. And I think there's a few similarities between Society and Roadside and you and I, where Society, they make quality cycling apparel. They are a smaller player based out of WA, but they make real premium stuff just like us. A smaller setup, but we do the stuff right, okay? Now, we had, that was one of the reasons why we wanted to work with them, because they're trying to grind and make Society, all in, trying to make it happen.
Yep, they absolutely are.
That's what we're doing as well. So we've picked out some good kit that you think you guys might like. We'd love you to support them because they support us, and we'll sprinkle that in throughout today's episode and across our coverage through January and February. But it's time, Tommy.
It's time. Let's get into it. It is a long list. We have we've got a mountain to work through here, so it is absolutely time.
It's time. This is Roadside, presented by Zwift. So, the FE Sports Roadside preview. The Tour Down Under is around the corner as well, by the way, Tommy. We just put in our order for our Pirellis and the Magine TPU tubes for our Tour Down Under cycling. I think for anyone who's travelling in Adelaide, who isn't already there, just make sure you've got some fresh tyres for that 10-day period, right?
So you, interestingly enough, you went in for the 28 mils, not the 30. Not the 30 mil Pirellis.
Yeah, I got 28 mil P0 roads, just the balanced pair, not super race, but just enough to get you around. I'd have to change them regularly enough. But they blow up to a 31 millimeter measured on the Magine XR wheels.
Yes, okay.
Wide internals. So that's wide enough. So you don't have the Magine wheels, so that's why you've got to get the extra wide.
I like the 30 mil. The 30 mil's a good tyre. I can't believe the difference. Hey, I was just back in the day, mate, where I'd be rolling the 23 mil. You pump it up to 120.
He's a changed man.
I am an immensely changed man. Now, moving on. First, we're going to work through chronologically. So the time trial is the first event for this year's Nationals. That's what we're going to start on. As a side note, we're recording this a little bit further out from Nationals, so I don't have the exact forecast for what every day.
1st of Jan recording, so the 6-day forecast.
Also, how's that 1st of Jan recording? We're working hard here. We're working hard. I've got the handshakes.
He's had 4 Baroccas, so
I've had a few fridge cigarettes, so I'm here. My soul's here. I'm physically here. I'm functioning.
Weather, Tommy. What's the weather extended forecast so far for the TT days?
Well, it is pretty applicable for the TT because you got to know the weather. The course, they do 3 or 4 laps of a 9.5 kilometre circuit around Rebold. It's the same course that we used last year.
It's a square. It's a square, and one part of that square, one long length, is along the coast. Along the coast, which is important for the wind.
Punches right into sort of the southerly, if there is one, and I think there will be one. The extended forecast, it's going to be showing sort of maybe slightly warmer conditions than maybe what we had last year, and I think there's going to be a little bit more breeze as well for the elites on Thursday. I think we're going to see a little bit more wind. I think we're going to see more up towards that 25 knots coming out of southwest. So
what kind of heat? What are you talking, 30?
I think so. Yeah, it'll feel like it won't be too hot because of the breeze. That sort of real stereotypical sort of Perthonian afternoon.
Yeah, so if it's
where the sea breeze rolls.
TTs are usually in the morning as well. So if it's 30 degrees forecast for the Wednesday, Thursday TT days, near where the TT course is, you probably knock off 2 degrees because it is close to the coast, and maybe 1 more degree because of the wind if it's up. So take away 3 degrees when you're near the coast.
Yeah, it's going to make the pacing strategy really interesting. As you come around the coast, you're punching into a huge breeze, you turn around, you kind of copping it on the side before you head back towards Rebold, where you'll just be absolutely flying. So already we're seeing a lot of the local athletes doing simulation. Yep. And I expect that to be the case.
Yeah, this course really favours TT specialists, those who are really good in the position, those who spend a lot of time on the TT bike, which obviously the differences can be really seen through the U23 and under-19 ranks, and of course the elites are always dialed in with their TT bikes. Now U19s, our start list is the official start list is still incomplete, the one we've been given. It doesn't have a U19 TT start list at all, but last year's winner Max Gould and Amelie Sanders were the 2 winners. They've both aged up to U23 now, and the interesting thing I remember from last year, Tom, is that there were a number of riders who made a mistake either in the final shoot that came into the finish line because it was too tight, and I think on the cycling did just soften the corner up the riders would make the right-hand turn into the finish. They softened that after a couple of crashes, including Max Gould. He crashed and still won.
As well, didn't he? Yeah.
And we, of course, saw Luke Durbridge do another lap.
Well, yeah,
Remember
it wasn't
that.
his fault.
It wasn't his fault, but
I believe the director said, "You've got one more lap to go," and then
he did one whole extra lap of the course.
No, I don't think he did. I think he went no. So
he overshot it.
He
right?
overshot. So instead of taking the finish chute on the right, he's overshot on the left. They've realised the error. He's in this massive gear because you've kind of got the tailwind at that point. So I think he's in the big ring, in the 12.
Yeah.
And he's kind of tried to maybe turn around in the biggest gear on his bike with the disc, and he's just gone, nah, this isn't it, and he's just ridden off.
Yeah. So it's really hard to, there's some little interesting things there that may happen again this year, but people know the course. So the under-19s, we don't have a great start, so it is hard for us to make a call, but first, what we're going to see is we're going to see some new stars emerge and some new names that we're keen to see in the future. Moving on to our U23 men's, and again, we don't have the TT start list, but we do have the full start list for the men's road races and crits, so it can give us an idea. Last year's top three for the men's was Zach Marriage, Fergus Browning, and our man, the JC driver. This year, we think we're going to be looking at the names of Will Holmes, Jackson Medway of Medway Trucking Services, and potentially, if he does the TT, Jack Ward racing for Lidl Trek.
Yeah, quality couple of names you've listed as the favourites. Interestingly enough, all those podiums from last year moving on to the elite. So a real clean slate, isn't it? Rare, more often than not, you see one rider who's kind of maybe third, who is just got another year to go in the under 23, and then you sort of see that cycle. But Will Holmes, class act, Jackson Medway had a massive year, sort of really stepped up with Tudor Pro Cycling. Yep. Their continental team this year, so I think he's the rider to really watch out for.
Yeah, there's probably going to be
TT specialist.
Absolutely, Jackson's a huge engine, huge lad. I think his brother Fletcher as well, who's racing U23,
as well,
he'll probably be in the top 10 as well. I'm keen to see. He's a little bit younger. Keen to see how he goes. And as you said, all three of the under 23 men's, they all aged up. So it just goes to show that at this age group, it's very hard for a first yearer to come through and win as a under 23. So an 19-year-old often just gets, over muscled, on a power course.
Yeah,
so,
you sort of do. You're still coming of age, aren't you? Despite the, seeing guys coming through the ranks at a higher level, they're signing these sort of pre-agreement contracts with teams. They still do get muscled out by just kind of the bigger, burlier, older boys, to speak. Can Will Holmes get the better of Jackson Medway?
Well, I don't think so, because I'm trying to cast my mind back to the last time I was in Ballarat, and I actually think Jackson Medway won the under 23 as like a first yearer. So it'd be interesting to see. Will Holmes was a minute 37 off the pace, I think, last year. So I think, Jackson Medway is going to be the favourite for the men's. He'll be in the Tudor Pro Cycling kit. And that will be, I love that kit. It'll be good to see. Will Holmes will be racing he's in the dev team, Jayco dev team? Believe so. So Will Holmes and Jackson Medway, Jack Ward, the favourites for U23 men's.
Very hard to go past.
Now the U23 women's.
This is an interesting prospect, isn't it?
We love this because last year we had Ali Anderson, the South Australian. We had Felicity Wilson-Atherton, of course, riding for Lidl Trek, and Sophia Salmons, who was also in the top 5 for that elite U23 road race. This year is the big three that we're looking at, that we believe we're looking at. Talia Appleton isn't doing the TT, just got confirmation from her dad, Jared.
Just on the Appleton hotline, hey?
That's true. They're wonderful people, the Appletons. Now, the big three, Tommy, we're looking at Felicity Wilson-Atherton, Sophia Salmons, and Mackenzie Coupland, who is part of the World Tour Leveler Jayco team now from the dev team. She's coming up. Sophia is still going to be riding under Praties.
Yes, that is correct. That was announced just a day or two ago.
We know Felicity is with Lidl Trek. So we've got riders who are all in. Now, it's going to be tight between these two because Mackenzie Coupland and Sophia Salmons are Western Australian based, and we've been watching them do the ATA time trials across the last 6 or 7 weeks here in Perth. So a couple of different types of time trials every Tuesday, and I think there's once every 3 weeks across a longer circuit. Sophia Salmons has got the better of Coupland, I believe, on every occasion, but it's been within 10 seconds.
10 seconds, you think?
just about every single adder, it's been about 10 seconds gap to Sophia to Mackenzie Copeland, and I don't think there's any rider on the time trial start list, which doesn't exist, by the way, that spends more time on the TT rig than Sophia Sammons. She absolutely lives on this bike. You might have seen some of the content she's been putting out for Oz Cycling and City of Perth promoting the Nationals, and she's even been doing the content on the TT rig. So it's the bike she feels most comfortable on, and it's probably the discipline that she would say is her number one ticket, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. And interestingly enough, just done a little search around for the ATAR results, the early bird results. It's in Kings Park, that middle section of road in Kings Park.
They go up and down.
They go up and down. For those non-WA listeners, they generally do it 5 or 4 times.
5 times, yeah.
So over last week, Sophia Sammons just got the better again of Mackenzie Copeland by about 10 seconds. So they're very close, these two athletes. Salmon's really wanting a big result. She wants to take another step forward again in the time trial.
She's trying to get a pro contract.
Yeah, precisely. And she believes that, I think, winning or going out and being the best under 23 in the TT, that is a real clear line in the sand. We see riders get picked up and go to continental teams from there. Yep. And it is hard to dispute when you're really good on the TT bike.
Well, it was Mackenzie Copeland and Felicity Wilson-Haffner that went 1-2, 1-2 in the time trials when they were both under 19s. Yes. And Felicity just came off the BMX bike, and when she finished first and won the national U19 TT, I think she was signed to Lidl Trek very quickly after that. So and Mackenzie as well going into Live a Little Jaco setup. So if Sophia can snag that top step, she's got the power, no doubt. We'll talk about this later in the road race. But I think teams might be already aware of her time trialing ability. They might be paying attention to the road racing ability, which is what we'll touch on soon. So those are probably the big three we're looking at. The next event.
Who wins that? Just before you move on, because I think Sophie and Macca have made a big step forward. Do you think they're close enough to be able to challenge Felicity?
Historically, Felicity Wilson-Haffner has gotten the wood over Mackenzie Copeland in the TT. And we've seen, like we said, just about every TT this year, Sophia Sammons has been ahead of Mackenzie Copeland. But I have a feeling that Mackenzie Copeland has been holding back either a little bit of form peaking, just a little bit of rest, or she's been holding back with Jayco a special skin suit or some extra kit she hasn't been wearing at the TT.
She hasn't been in a full race simulation.
Yes, I think you're holding back a little bit, that you'll bring your 30 seconds. It's a different helmet. It's a skin suit. It's maybe a different set of wheels. I reckon there'll be something there, and Matt Macker will get over all of them.
Yeah, oh, wow, okay. Mackenzie Copeland to win.
I think she'll pull out of the hat.
I won't disagree with you. I think you're actually on the money with that call.
Just holding back a little skin dog or a little wheel here, little helmet test there. We'll see. Now
makes a big difference, the equipment.
Oh, fuck it does.
It's immense.
Huge these days. Yep. And if you're not equipped, you're just not in the arms race. Now, Elite Women's, we've got to smash through it. There's a lot through there. Elite Women's, they're doing 3 laps of the 9.6K circuit. It's a solid TT, probably about a 40 or 35 minute effort for these women. Last year champion was Brodie Chapman. She's a 2-time winner now, racing for UAE. She's legend Brodie. Her mum comes and does the swanning for her as well. She wears the vest. Amber Pate was second in a great nationals campaign, and Anya Lowe was third.
It was a good ride by Anya Lowe last year. I heard she just got a TT bike. Like, she had very little prep. And it was just kind of like, I'm here, nationals, why not, sort of thing. So it was a good ride by her last year.
She is a beast. Now, we're looking at Brodie Chapman as probably the big favourite, but Georgia Baker's here as well, and I'm really keen to see if she's lining up for the TT. They're not confirmed yet, but I'm going to assume that Georgia's lining up. You've got Amber Pate down as another favourite. We have to say she is, because she's definitely stepped up. From all the other names that are on our list of riders who might be sniffing around, I don't think we can really go past Brodie Chapman.
Yeah,
she's a specialist, and we've seen her in her top form, Brodie Chapman. Her top form, she's been within 20 seconds of Grace Brown, who is, at her peak, the world's best. So I think that shows that Brodie is the number 2, while she's now the number 1 in terms of Australian time trial.
I agree wholeheartedly. God, it's a bit of a boring podcast when we agree, mate, but it just shows you the class, doesn't it, Brodie Chapman, and how good she is. And she's taken a really big step forward, I think, as well. UAE, she's locked in all the gear. I hope
she's getting paid at UAE. Hope she's
She
getting
would be,
paid.
she would be.
Hope she's getting paid. Now, how close, Tom, will our U23 time trial podium, how close will they be to the elite podium times? Because they are doing...
They do the same
3 laps each.
3 laps each.
I actually think... No, how close do you think they'll be in minutes or seconds?
Oh, I think Brodie Chapman, because she sets the benchmark so high, that you might see a minute creep into it between, say, her and the winner of the under-23.
1 minute's gap.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
You think less or more?
I reckon you're close. I reckon there'll be about a 39 second... No, yeah, I think 45 second gap. Something between 45 and a minute.
We'll put a coffee on that.
Don't we get our coffees for free?
Yeah, but we'll put who's got to go over, walk over to the van to get it.
You know, I'm hoping the time trials in Ballarat, they used to have this gelati van, and old Mr. Pat Shaw, the great man, he'd already...
The local.
He'd been... Yeah, I think he signed the deal to get the gelati guy there. We had free gelati all day long at the TT. So they hope they've got some down at Perry Lakes, or wherever the hell it is. Elite Men's, Tommy, the TT, what happened last year?
Well, what happened last year, we've heard the antics of Luke Durbridge, who was in the battle for the podium with Kel O'Brien. He just missed out on that by missing the finishing shoot. But Jay Vine, he got knocked over by Luke Platt by... What was the margin? It wasn't a big margin, was it? It was a close margin.
Maybe 5 seconds?
Yeah, it was a hard-fought TT between the two of them. Luke Platt consolidating another national time trial last year. I think he goes in the favourite again this year.
Oh, yeah.
You would know his form better than me. Where's he at? Where is he with this at the moment?
The great man has told me today, actually, that he's touched the time trial rig twice since getting off the bike. I'm pretty sure I've seen more than 2 stories of him on that bike.
Well, he raced it for national. He raced it on the Tour of Ballarat.
So that's
a Tour of
Bright.
So that's one time.
That's one. And there's a couple of warm-up rides there. So let's say he's been on it 10 times, right?
Oh, I think minimum 20.
So he poured a bit of cold water on the TT rig, but he set a new record up Mount Buffalo. Mm-hmm. He's obviously going very well, and I think there's no way in hell the great man will want to lose to Jay Vine, because he knows Jay Vine is coming. He's from what we've been told, Vine is humming. He's humming for the TT.
I'm a bit blind on Vine at the moment. I'm not going to lie. Like, you've got your secret squirrel out there. I'm a little bit blind with him at the moment, but I've heard he's been doing some work. To what degree, I don't know. I hope he's here to challenge. I really do, because he loves the national time trial champion. He's won it before. He won it in Ballarat.
When Plappy dropped his chain, lost 30 seconds.
You got to have a chain on a bike to be able to ride it. So,
that's good.
Yeah,
juicy juice.
If it happened either way, I'd say the same thing. So at the end of the day, that happened. That's bike racing, isn't it?
What about Kel? Because we have both heard he is also pinging like a freshly restrung tennis racket.
Yes, he's been banging out the kilometres in Melbourne. I've heard just logging it. So I hope he has taken a step forward and can challenge these guys. A little bit further outside of that ring, Luke Durbridge, he's in really good form as well, I've heard. And also, because he was close to Kel last year. You look at the splits.
He's close.
And no, the actual physical timing of it, it was him and Kel who were fighting for that last podium.
That third spot, yeah.
Benny O'Connor's going pretty well as well. He did a really good ride at Atta, the local time trial here last week.
The Kings Park one, yep.
Yeah, he broke Durbridge's record that was set in 2020 by about 30-odd seconds.
That is a smashing. It is a smashing, because we've seen Durbridge last year and the year before, and Matt Burton, a professional triathlete, Ironman winner. When they were at their heyday pinging away, they would really battle for that, trying to get that record. And they're getting within seconds.
And it's not just those guys. It was the likes of Cam Meyer as well.
Yeah, trying to get this record.
He would just descend out of nowhere, and he'd be warming up, and you'd look at this man, and someone who's won Olympic golds and, international time trials like Durbridge as well. Like Durbridge has won stage at the Dauphiné and all that. Yep. And it was just this intense competition at a local level that just obviously bred such success amongst these group of guys over there.
And they were going for they were trying to beat their fastest time and get the record, but they were getting within 5 seconds of it. So Ben has smashed that TT record by like 20 seconds, wasn't it? 23 seconds or something. So he must be going all right on the TT rig for a 20-minute effort. The question is, 4 laps, we're looking at
very different effort.
40 plus minutes. It's 40 Ks. Oh no, they got 50 K an hour. Yeah, so it's about 40 minutes.
And very rare do you actually do, like, if you think all these professionals, they always, they have opportunities to do time trials willy-nilly around. They don't. Even the likes of Brodie Chapman in the women's side, very rare do you get the one-off time trial. I think it's only like Chronos Nationals at the end of the season where you do like a one-off time trial effort. So I love it. I love the time trial. We're going to be there on the Thursday, mate. So I cannot.
It is you and me. We got our roster.
For it.
We got our roster, so we're actually on together. So that's going to be very good. Who wins the men's? We've picked our women's. I think it's pretty clear. Brodie wins for the women's.
Yep.
Who wins the men's? Can anyone beat Luke Plapp?
Oh, look, if Plapp's done this, if Plapp has done his usual summer, he's a hard man to go past. I'll have to back him in.
Yeah. Even if he's ridden his bike, the TT bike, really and truly, as you mentioned.
Just because I don't know enough where Vine's been.
You never know.
There's too much smoke going on.
He's been buying vehicles, mate. He's got 2 kids now.
Yeah,
I heard he's individually plucking hairs out of his legs. That's how much he's going into the aerodynamics. So I'm looking forward to the battle. I think Plapp and Vine are going to be. It's going to be a matter of seconds.
Okay.
So, we'll see how we go. But I do think Plapp can't be beaten. Let us know what you guys think as well for the TTs. Give us your predictions. And for the time trialing as well, it's great to have the after the effect. We'll have the parents in the chat, in the comments on YouTube, letting us know that their child is racing the U19 TTs. We don't have the start list. I don't know why they're not on the start list, but we're working it for the race.
We've been emailed everything. Everything else we know about the event. We've got it all, but we just do not have the start list.
I think, Lockie Stewart, he might be the first year under 19 that I'm interested in seeing. But let's get to our, we're going to go to the criteriums next, Tommy. Yep. Quick break. Remember the timestamps as well if you want to jump ahead to the crits. All the road races, they'll be in the description. This is Roadside, presented by Zwift. Now, Tommy, our Roadside coverage of the Aussie Summer of Cycling is brought to you by Society. We mentioned at the start of the podcast, of course, amazing WA cycling apparel company. We've picked out some kits, right? Because if you want to support us, you want to buy some stuff, I always find if you go into a website to buy something to support, a group or someone you like or a mate, whatever, you get this website and you're like, oh, fuck, there's so much stuff. You don't know what to choose from. Then you just go, oh, I'll do it later. It's too overwhelming. So I thought we'd pick the gear that we think you guys might want to get into if you want to support us, or you can go and have a look for yourself. But we've got our Roadside package, Tommy, right? Now, for the kit...
This is what you've asked for. You've just straight up just gone, what do I want? And then you've just kind of worked this in, and you're going to work the angle. You go, oh, guys, I just want to push this kit. And you go, and realistically, you're like, you send this kit over my way. What have you picked?
I haven't paid for a lot of kit a long time. I picked out for the men's, right? I picked out the men's Elevate, which is like their premium-looking kit. Very nice stuff, nice aerodynamic touches. Yep. This is a clean-looking kit. It's just the all-black. It's the all-black, all-class men's Elevate kit. So get the bibs, get the jersey. You'll look super sleek. Aerodynamic sleeves, really nice fit. And in the women's side,
this
bit of style.
This is what Megan wants.
Megan's giving me the 4-on-1 here. So this is not the old mansplain pick. This one we've looked after and had a good check. The women's Elevate port wine-coloured bibs.
It's a timeless colour.
It is cool with the bone jersey. So, of course, our female listeners, check out Society. And if you like those, the port wine and the short sleeve bone jersey for a bit of style. Those 2 items, if you use Roadside 15, it will cost $355. Now, I've seen MAP jerseys that cost $380, and I love cycling kit, but fuck me, we can't be spending $400 on a fucking jersey. It's out of control. It is out of control. That's why we like Society, because you aren't paying, a physical leg to get yourself into some good kit. So, Society, they are supporting us, and if you like to support us, you can get in Society. Use Roadside 15 on anything. Doesn't have to be those kits. Now the criteriums are starting on Friday night. It's a massive day. We've got it's a big day if you're on the scheduling for commentating for.
It's a long day, isn't it?
Because you got the bloody teams time, the teams masters. Crit Fondo in the morning and
the Crit Fondo. You've got the Crit Fondo.
That's what it is, though.
Well, initially, they actually weren't on the schedule.
Yeah, well, I think
and the uproar, the
lash was rife and it was vicious. So I think people were like, we want to race on this course and we're prepared to pay for it.
Yeah, that's right. I think all of those people are those who missed out on the Fondo. You're too slow. But we've got that in the morning. We're not previewing that, obviously, but good luck. U19s, right? U19s.
We're not even previewing
they're like the whole audience as well.
We don't even know the U19s.
No, but the U19s, for the Criterium, it's more about how it's raced, right? Now, it's all about how it's raced. They're all raced differently across the men's and women's and the different age groups.
Yep.
The U19, they're all young. It's carnage. It is attacks non-stop. We saw last year, we saw Connor Wright just detonating attacks all the time. We saw the likes of Alexander Hughes. We saw Donovan Mackey. And, of course, the winner, Ollie Jurovic, the big lad, got the chockies. But it's just attacking all the time. But everyone is so nervous, they don't let anything go.
Well, I think it was a bit of a case in the under-19 men last year. ARA, they came into it, they had the plan. And then they rode actually for Ollie Jurovic. They were really dialed in.
Yep.
But if you weren't part of the ARA bubble there, it was just like a local ping pong board, wasn't it? The attacks just flying, and it was really good racing. It was really exciting racing to see.
It's a good one to watch. Yeah.
It's a good little appetizer as well. You know, you're seeing some sporadic, spontaneous racing, some racing with really not much thought behind it, apart from a couple of riders there. And then you kind of see the pace increase over the course of the afternoon, which is, the racing gets a little bit more meaningful as well. It's good.
And it's also a good indicator, as you see all the riders attacking for no reason, coming back to the bunch, attacking again. You see the ones that are continuously doing those attacks and getting away from the bunch, maybe staying away for a few laps. If they do it a few times, you go, okay, they've got a good aerobic base, a good aerobic power system here. They're going to be very good for the road race. So often it's a nice window into who might be quite good for the road race. So last year's winner was Ollie Jurovic. The key thing for under-19 men's is the biggest rider wins. That is it. Of course, you can't just be a big slobos and just jump on the bike and stretch it to a triple XL, but you can... it's the biggest rider with the best aerobic engine. So Jurovic is one of the biggest riders there. Yep. He got the chocolates done because of the raw power. So I think we'll see the carnage end the same way, Tommy, and the big rider.
No, we absolutely will. Yeah,
yeah.
It's hard to go past. And in the women's last year, we had Ruby Taylor was third, Anna Dubier, and then Amelia Sanders won the day. Much of the sort of the same amongst the under-19.
It was an ARA. It was an ARA domination too. I mean, we saw Amelie Sanders almost do the clean sweep. Anna Dubier got her chockies in the road race, but it was like which ARA was going to win last year, and Amelie got the job done here. The U19 women's is usually a lot more cagier than the U19 men's. It's usually a lot of watching each other, particularly when there is a big presence of an ARA or a Paredes or a team that's got lots of riders. And this year it could be, a new team we haven't seen before. But again, we don't have the U19s on our official start list. That's incomplete, but I'm pretty sure Ruby Taylor will still be in U19s, and she is an absolute superstar. So if she is, she'll definitely be a favourite. But I think we'll see a nice bunch sprint for the U19 women's after a bit of a cagey day out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd have to say, quickly comment as well, like, obviously I love having the Nationals over in Perth, being Perthonian based, but I thought the first year, last year, was a little bit disappointing with the size of the junior fields.
Oh, the junior fields, yeah.
Yeah, obviously I can understand you've got to fly across. It's something that West Australians have always done, but I'm, encouraged to see slightly bigger fields, at least in the under 23 than maybe last year. So, because it was, if you were sort of just rolling in to sort of see what was going on in the city in Northbridge, it was really only like 20 people riding around a crit at this in the juniors, and it wasn't exactly the best display in my opinion.
Okay,
having those low numbers, so hopefully they're going to increase.
Are you trying to say that East Coast is you got to travel because we did that for a long time, WA?
Hey, I'm merely just making a comment of my observation from last year.
Okay,
and I can understand entirely. I only ever went and did nationals, I think, once. Because I did it my last year under 23, and I went, no, that's it. There's no point going across.
I don't know if you can see it in the frame, but my state title medal was actually just hanging over Tommy's head. So a little bit of I did nationals. Good for you. U23 men's Criterium. This is where, like, as the day goes on, particularly when they're there all day, what you see is the speed increase. So if you're there all day spectating on the beautiful side of Northbridge, it's just pumping. You can't miss it.
Beautiful in Northbridge. I've never heard that. In
Well,
a sentence.
it's funny because the finish line straight is actually where a lot of the. It's actually at night time with no race there. It's where all the businesses put their bins out. It's the stinking street of the corner. Obviously, all the businesses are around, but beautiful place nonetheless. This is where you see the speed increase. U19 men's is the next category to talk about. Last year's winner was our man, the JC driver. My man, my spirit animal, the JC driver. He got Leo Zinnerman over the line. Braden Block was in third. We're looking at
a lot of those guys though. They've moved on though, haven't they? Obviously.
No. Well, Zinnerman should still be part of it. JC he's moved on to better pastures. Not sure about Braden Block. But before we go to the favourites, similar to the U19's race, the under-23 men's crit is still carnage, but it's controlled carnage because there is usually a suite of teams with 3 or 4 riders, like we saw with Caish last year and the Ether brothers working to keep the race together for JC Driver. So we're probably going to see a lot of attacking, maybe a break get up the road, but a controlled break by a team like Caish Body Wrap or maybe Team Brennan.
Yeah, I expect to see the same thing. We saw that. It was really well done actually by Caish with Johnny Carter last year. Whether or not they have the numbers this year, though, for that particular outfit, I'll have to re-familiarise myself across there because... you've got a sort of some of the list of favourites here in Jonas Shelvington and Oscar Gallagher. Gallagher, I think, was 4th last year as an individual.
He's a psycho.
So you go someone who's just getting a little bit older, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, and maybe is their last year as an under-23, is really going to get after it.
Yeah.
Particularly if he was comfortable on the crit course last year. He'll be at home on his second year here. So that's one name to keep an eye out for. Who... Can you pick a winner out of these?
I like Oscar. I think Oscar could steal it. I'm not sure what the sort of team Brennan setup might be like. If they've got some good numbers. Jackson Medway is in the race as well, so he could very well go on a big last lap fly as a solo riding for Tudor. So I think Medway could be a bit of a particularly if Criterium racing isn't your specialty or it's not something you're really that interested in, but you love doing it. You often see these riders who are on their own just go, you know what, I just need to open the legs up for the road race in a couple of days' time, and you see them really blast towards the end. So if the bunch if they're pissing around and they let Medway get a couple of 50 metres up the road by himself with 2 laps to go, you ain't going to catch him because I've seen him attack with 2 laps to go before, back down to Tour of Gippsland, and the only reason why he got caught is because he saluted 1 lap prior to the line. Christy Johnson rolled him. So I like Oscar Gallagher. Tommy, do you have a name you like? Or?
Yeah, I was going to go with Oscar as well, to be honest.
He's a weapon.
I think,
trained by Brenton Jones. He is. You can't go wrong there. So don't miss that one. Now, under-23 women's and elite women's, the Criterium is combined. Last year was a stinker, and I hate saying that, but it was. It sucked because we saw Amber Pate and Kira Will, 2 stars. Kira Will more known for her track racing. Amber Pate, of course, for Liverlula. They got away and they lapped the field because the bunch just sat up.
And they lapped the field at just an inconvenient time as well, where they had to call the field to sprint earlier, and it was just a bit of a shambles. It was a little bit messy. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why this was allowed to occur. Why what went on in the bunch? To be honest, I was running around working elsewhere. You would have had a better eyes on it than me, but. Are we going to see the same thing again? Is that what this crit course is setting this sort of racing up?
Well, potentially. I'm hoping not, but potentially it does often happen. We saw it. I told you guys last year it would happen in the road race. So we saw it. Once Liverlula get a rider up the road, they're very likely to be able to win it. So if you're not a part of that breakaway, if an easy breakaway just gets let off the leash, and there's a Liverlula in it, that is it. They will shut down the race. It's that simple. We've seen it time and time again. But this year, there are many names here that can mix things up. Riders that are solo, riders, Jayco doesn't have the control, I don't think, that they had last year. Now, we've got, of course, Alexander Manley, AG Insurance, Sue Dahl. She never really turns up for nationals, unfortunately. She's here. It's great she's come, but I don't feel like she ever times her form to be absolutely 100% for nationals. She's probably just a couple of weeks behind thinking of Tour Down Under. And fair enough.
Well, not really, to be honest. If you want to go well at Tour Down Under, you got to be going well at Nationals.
Well, maybe
no way.
She's won stages at Tour Down Under. Maybe she just gets better at peaking her form for TDU. Maeve Plouffe, we mentioned her. She was third last year. Sorry, as a solo rider. She'll be solo again this year. She's been doing a bunch of Ks, and I feel like she's got maybe a bit of a rocket to go, hey, it's now or never. I've got to start winning against these pros, and if it is to come down to a sprint, she's going to be one of the fastest. Sophie Edwards, super rapid. That's right, part of the Australian Team's Pursuit team now.
Who's she running with on the road?
It's a good question. I actually don't know. Maybe she's with Liverlula now, though I'm not sure. But she, of course, rides for the Australian team. She'll be part of their next Olympic squad for the Team's Pursuit in LA 2028. Butterfield's Zip Track.
Very handy acquisition by the Butterfields.
Yeah,
Chapeau.
Very nice. Now, this is who I really like for the whole weekend, Alyssa Pilates. Give me some of that. She is flying. I loved, I did
for the crit for the weekend.
For everything. I like it, not for the TT. She's racing that, but I like it for the crit and I like it for the road race. She is the smoky, that she is the one that could be let go with some of the Liverlula Jayco or one Liverlula Jayco rider. They get up the road, same scenario as last year, but this time Pilates smokes her in the kick. I like Pilates, and I hope we get to see her. She's a wild card for sure. Some of the sprinters, before we go to the Jayco's team, Lucy Fitchers.
Yeah, very strong individual rider.
Riding for Picnic now. Riding for Picnic. She's on the Lapierre. One of the fastest if it comes down to a sprint, if the race isn't too hard. But she showed during the season this year, World Tour Classics races. That's her wheelhouse. So if it's super hard and punchy, she might actually be there in the finale, and I wouldn't want to sprint. She'd probably be the fastest out of those who would make a selective race.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it could be if it came down to just a rapid bunch kick. I think she would be right in the mix.
Yes, the positioning would be a question being on her own, but it's good to see she's there. O'Day Lynch as well as another rider riding for the Mstro, I believe. She's part of that setup. She's very
strong,
fast,
very strong sprint.
Yeah, very strong sprint. Sophie Ma as well. We saw her win the Pro Velo series. She's got a great sprint, super fit. And then, of course, Talia Rapperton, if she does the crit, I doubt it, but if she is, she'll be up and about. But Jayco Tommy, they've got Ruby Roseman Gannon, they've got Georgia Baker, they'll have Josie Talbot, and they'll also have Amber Pate. Is that enough to control the race for either a Georgia Baker sprint or a Ruby Roseman Gannon kick?
Well, it's fascinating with the Georgia Baker because I think she's not fast enough in a pure bunch sprint, but we know with the Criterium, the course, it's the exact same course. And if it's dry, you can control it. Mm-hmm. You kind of come into those last two corners where you almost going into the last lap, you've got to have good control. If they can make it and they line it out for Baker, and Baker comes into that last corner with one rider left in the lead out, she has a chance. But if she's still boxing and fighting for position, she's kind of strung out to dry a little bit. I just can't see it happening in a pure bunch kick against, some of those real sort of top-end sprinters, even someone like Fishers as well, who can really navigate a bunch kick by themselves.
And you've got to be able to really... It's a type of sprint because you've really got to come through that corner first or second wheel. It's very short to the line. You've got to have the kick. Yep. And riders like Maeve Plouffe, riders like Sophie Edwards, riders like O'Day Lynch and Fitchers, they've got that real high peak power kick versus Georgia Baker's got that classic track sprint. She actually sprints seated. And she might not have the big 1500 under the hood, but she probably does like 1150, but for 30 seconds. And she's got a number of World Tour podiums in a sprint. So you could go with her or you could go Ruby, who maybe is punchier, but the peak power, not sure.
Yeah, potentially. I actually think, to be honest, for Jayco, Liverlula Jayco, they need to be on the front foot again.
Yeah.
And I reckon, my eyes instantly light up Ruby Roseman, and I just think she's the sort of rider who could just get away after, in the finale of the crit. And everybody sort of stops and props. And Baker, because she is so experienced, she will just be able to just shut the front of the race down, discourage any chase. So I'm going to go with Ruby for a bit of a pick on this.
You're going with Ruby.
Yeah, I'm going
okay.
with Ruby. Yeah,
I'm going to Alyssa Pilates to take it out. Now, I want to pick one rider each who will be in the breakaway if one does get away, a proper break. I'm just having a look through this start list. I reckon Caitlin Nicholson is probably the one we're going to see. She's actually, I think Caitlin Nicholson, she was 3rd or 4th or 5th in the road race last year. I think she might be the one that will get away in that sneaky break.
Yeah, okay. That's a good call. That's a very good call. I'll go with Manly.
Oh, she got no leash last year.
No
She's
leash.
in the
Tried
World
a
Tour
lot of times.
kit.
Yep.
She did.
Her and Anya Lowe really tried hard to try and break it up, and I think they'll be doing that again.
Anya Lowe could be the breakaway pick too. So, yeah, let's see what you guys think. Who's going to win that Criterium in the Elite Women's and the U23 as well? Elite Men's.
Final race for the Friday night for the Northbridge.
This is when Northbridge, by the way, there was 15,000 people, close to 20 actually, it was a bit more than 15,000 in the Northbridge vicinity. For those who weren't there, didn't travel across or watch it on TV, it is right next to the Perth CBD. And the racing starts, the Elite Women's and Men's, it's around 5 o'clock.
Yep.
Everybody's finishing work on a Friday, and a lot of people do head across.
Down.
They head across to Northbridge. It's a 5-minute, not even a 5-minute walk. It was absolutely heaving, and the big cheeses and the CEOs of the Tourism WA were blown away. They had no idea how big cycling was.
It kind of reminded me of, when you go, if you've been to Tour Down Under, they have the People's Crit Champ Classic,
yes.
Where the women's race had finished, and then it's just before the men's race. It was like that, but double.
Yeah.
It was more intense. And maybe because it was kind of like just the Perthonian cycling community just rallied hard, and everyone's there with all their best mates because they've just had to catch a bus or a train in a walk from their office in the city, and it was everyone's coming off the silly season, and it's kind of prolonged our silly season a little bit, hasn't it? So
you try to strap in after you've just torched your rig for 2 weeks, and then you go, one more night.
One more. Well, not even one more night. It's one more Friday. And
One
then
more
you
Friday.
can maybe bypass the under-23s and the juniors on the Saturday, then you're back again on a Sunday.
Good Lord.
So, but yeah, last year we had a great race, didn't we? We saw a really stellar field. They started out. It was an aggressive crit.
It was. Attritional.
It was. There was a bit of a bingle as well early on that kind of caused a split. And if you're on the right end of that split, then you were in the thick of it. Guys were getting pulled. There were a lot of bodies on the ground. Though,
lap by lap, it had the riders eliminated. I think by the final 5 laps, we were left with 10 or 11 riders from the entire. It was like a 60, 70, 80 deep field.
Yeah, and then there was maybe a group of 30 chasing behind. So that sort of summarised it. Sam Welsford, he won the kit. Cameron Scott, he was in 2nd place, and then Blake Quick was in 3rd. Interestingly enough, Cameron Scott riding for CKH last year, they put a lot of effort into controlling. But it was Roha Insurance with Blake Quick, Kane Richardson. They really controlled all day. And I thought it was really interesting because Jaco tried hard. Luke Durbridge, he got up the road a few times. But ultimately, it just had the riding, was on the wall for a messy bunch kick. That was whoever was left. And Welsford Welsford showed why he is an Olympic gold medalist in the team pursuit and in the Madison as well. He just showed his class.
He did, and he didn't just sit back as well. He was very attentive to any dangerous moves. We saw him on the front quite a lot, just bringing back moves or contributing to the chasing as well. So it was the Welsford show, you saw him the other day, Tommy on Papa's. Did he give you a little clip about getting the team wrong that he was getting transferred to?
He clipped me because you just make the most clickbaity tiles I've ever seen. All I said was that the decision was being made, and I never said which way he was going to go. Anyway, we love Sam on this pod, and he was right. It was a good clip. I like it.
Good clip. Now he's got to win.
He was out this morning on Boxing Day on Papa's this morning.
What's going on with that kit? We saw that photo. He said it was new Ineos kit. Sammy, mate, didn't they tailor the kit to you? It looks like he needs a size down. He's in showroom condition.
Yeah, he's ready.
The big wombat.
I'm picking Welsford. I'm going early here. I'm picking Welsford.
It's Welsford's world. There's no possibility he's rocking up to his hometown. He's got the pointy nose. He's in shape. He's got the new kit. He's here to show everyone that this is my house. He's not going to lose, but the other favourites who we'll be looking at, Blake Agnoletto, Love what this guy can do, joining the FDJ Continental setup. The same pathway we saw Jensen Plowright go through, who's also on the start list. He's been on the podium before.
Great to see him back on the start list this year, Plowright.
You know,
Very classy rider. Had good professional wins in Asia. He rode the Giro last year. He stepped up.
He stepped up, and every year the second year, I wonder if he was considering coming across via bike, because I think last time I talked to him, he said he wanted to ride across the Nationals, but I don't think his team was that keen, or his coach was that keen. Yep. Tom Cornish is there. I just thought I'd put that name down. Of course, one of the track sprinters for the Australian team. Hey, he could be there. He could be there. Blake Quick, we've seen him. He's been on the podium a number of times. He's also been a winner as well, can't forget. Connor Lay, or not a winner, second place. Connor Lay, Liam Walsh, names to look out for. Kel O'Brien, we know, is pinging. And, of course, just tuning the legs, just leg openers. Our man Brady Gilmore, who we will be talking a lot about after the next break. But it is Welsford's show. It can't be missed. If you're in Perth, in WA for the event, you just simply cannot miss the Elite Women's and Men's Criterium. It's just a pissathon all across the circuit. The place was out of beer. There were pubs that were out of kegs of piss.
Yep. Yeah,
unbelievable.
It was good.
And
not through fault of under stocking. It was like they stocked up for it,
and you know what? We can't even have a frothy, appetite. Tommy. We can't have a frothy because it will be up all night editing. We're doing the pod for the next day for you guys, and then we've got a 5:30 a.m. start for the Saturday because the Grand Fondo.
Actually, I'm not doing the Saturday.
You're doing the Saturday. I
know.
No, count me out for that.
We work hard, don't we? Work hard for the roadside fans.
Yes.
So, what do you guys think? Elite women's, elite men's. What do you take? Can Welsford be beaten? Can Jayco be beaten in the women's? It's a big call. But road races coming up right after this. This is Roadside presented by Zwift. It's time for the road races, Saturday and Sunday. It is amazing. This is the best road racing circuit in the world for any national event. This is amazing. This is the best. Perth Nationals, WA Nationals.
You said anywhere.
Host the best national circuit road race for the national title in the world. You show me a better one. It does not exist. How's the shots? You got Robbie Power in the helicopter of the beautiful Swan River. There's Perth CBD, not overcrowded like Melbourne, not dingy like Sydney. It's a bit dirty there. Adelaide, not too bad, but we're looking pretty good here in Perth. Now, weather. Weather. You've got weather down here.
I put course and weather.
Okay, course and weather. It's the same course. We know it. It is the 13.6 kilometre circuit. It is highlighted by the Malcolm Street Hill. That is the hill that you've got to be on if you're spectating. It's about a 1 minute effort for the professionals, or a little bit less when they're full gas, full nanas up there. It is a eliminator of a circuit. Every time you go up that hill, someone drops.
Yeah, absolutely. You just get ridden out of the wheel, and then you end up going over the finish line, 30 seconds down, and then before they come back out through the park, you're 2 minutes down.
That's
your
right.
day is done.
Nice smooth hot mix on the Kings Park inner roads, which they navigate, so that's beautiful and smooth, and then it spits you out onto the Mounts Bay, which is the nice wide road with the Swan River on your right, the Swan Brewing historic building there, of course, back and through the main terrace of Perth CBD, St George's Terrace, and it brings you back up to Malcolm Street. The Mounts Bay section is notoriously windy. We saw last year with the flags, it was a big tail, a cross tail, but mainly tailwind down Mounts Bay. If the wind comes from the side, it can make it very challenging for the peloton because the crosswinds will be there.
Well, that was the case. So last year, funnily enough, like on the Sunday, I had a look at a little bit of the weather. It wasn't that hot. It felt very hot, didn't it? But it was really only 18 to sort of late 20s.
Yeah.
The UV over here, it was just absolutely pounding us
the
all
ozone.
day. There was a light southwesterly breeze, which of course, it made a little bit of a block headwind going up the climb. The Mounts Bay, when you've got a bit more of a pure southwesterly here in Perth, it does mean it can be a little bit more almost crossy as you're going down Mounts Bay.
Yep.
So, I think this year, just on the extended forecast, we're recording a fair way out. I think it's going to be slightly hotter this year. You won't feel that, though. I think with the sea breeze, we're going to get a bit of a stronger sea breeze this year. Which I hope we do, because it just makes for exciting racing.
And the sea breeze comes in the afternoon, so the races starting in the afternoon will be
around
ones.
2 o'clock, maybe a little bit earlier, depending on how hot it is to suck the sea breeze in off the coast. So
So if we get the 27 degrees that's forecasted so far, like I mentioned with the TTs, because that's close to the coast, we were taking the temperature down. Because we're closer to the CBD for this, you're probably going to add 2 degrees to 3 degrees on Malcolm Street Hill. The main hill of the day, the mountain, that is the one that is absolutely... We were there all day, so we'll be there on the Sunday commentating, Tom, so we'll be commentating on the hill, so that's where you've got to spectate because it's where all the action is. It was fucking roasting. It was roasting.
I don't think I've ever put so much sunscreen on my life. Like, I was just lathering up.
But it was a spectacle, wasn't it? We just moved across. We would direct the whole crowd to move across to the barriers when we knew they were going to come up the hill.
Yeah.
So it was great to watch, wasn't it?
It was. Now
starting on Saturday.
So Saturday we begin with the U19 men's after the Fondo. After I'm up at 5:30 in the morning for everyone to charge. And I wish I got a ticket actually, because and I think 850 entries this year. By the way, I know a lot of you guys missed out.
People have been wheeling and dealing them.
I got told last year by Oz Cycling representative that they will scale it up to 1,100 for next year's Nationals, and it's just purely because the first year Nationals here in Perth, they were testing the course and the resources. Test it with 500. Pretty good. Let's test it with 800, and then let's see if we can pull the trigger and go to 1,100 entries. But just don't make the mistake and get caught out next year. As soon as the early bird entries open, you now know it'll fucking sell out. It will sell out. Now, U19 men's, Alex Hughes, Jonas Shelvington, Fletcher Medway with your top 3. It was the ARA show in that race, and I think we'll see a similar again this year with a dominant team. We don't have the names for U19s again, as we mentioned. They're doing around 8 or 9 laps, 109 kilometres. I think what we see usually with the U19s is we just see elimination on that hill. We see the first time up the hill, it's bloody hard. There's a big selection, a little bit of a lull, and then we see the big favourites start to throw haymakers. And if there's any riders who are part of the teams like an ARA, a Brennan, etc., or a Butterfields, if you get multiple riders in a move that goes ahead, you are in the box seat.
Yeah, there's always a sense of kind of hesitation as well, because you know the names who will contend for these under-19 races, you don't want to play your cards too soon.
Yep.
You kind of are leaning on your teammates to try and hopefully do the right thing by getting in those moves early, and then you've kind of got to play that card. We did see a bit of a move in the under-19 men's last year. I remember going down watching it, and there was a good breakaway. It was reeled back in, not by people riding, but by pure aggression to try and jump across, which I'm a fan of. That'll be the case again in both under-19 women and men's. And then you just, this course was so clear to us at the end of 2 days of racing on it last year. The strongest riders are there in the finale, and they will have an opportunity to win.
100%. It's just that hill, the hill in the road race. It is just, it may only be, your 1 minute effort at 8-9%. But it's just so hot on there.
Still hard.
You can't,
park.
and
it's grippy.
But the hill itself, even though it's only a minute, you can't ride up it easy. It's impossible because it's so steep, and when it's really hard, there's nowhere to hide. You can't hide, and that's why it's an elimination every time. So the U19 women's will be a similar story. I think we don't have the names for who will be the favourites for this race. Don't have the start list. It's not confirmed yet. But U19 women's, they're racing 81 kilometres. It's just not long enough. 81 kilometres, they should be doing at least the distance of the men's. 81 Ks in this day and age with how far forward the sport has moved. Juniors these days, under 15s, are running some of the best equipment. They're training like pros now. I think those distances, and I know why they're there, I think they can be bumped up a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even want to go too hard on this, but because it's something that I just blatantly agree with, and particularly in the elite women. I think they're racing 109 kilometres because they're the under 23 elite, and it's stupid. That needs to be at least 130 kilometres, at least on par with the under 23 men.
Yeah. So again, sorry, we don't have the start list for that. It's just what we've been given from Oz Cycling. That's all we've got. We don't have the names, but Anna, we love Oz Cycling. They're paying our bills. Anna Dubier, Emily Sanders, Leonie Vandenberg. They were the top 3 last year. Dubier finally got a win. She's absolute superstar. Anna Dubier,
very big talent.
We'll be looking out for her across U23s. I believe she's aged up, so she's a big name. Now U23 men's. Before we get to U23 women's and elites. 136.
Last race on Saturday as well, by the way. This is the last race on the Saturday, isn't it?
It is on the Saturday,
Yes.
and I remember because having to do the presentations for this last year, and it gets televised on SBS, who are broadcasting it. This is ridiculous, right? We roll in, we had to move it forward or back, I can't remember, but when there's TV stuff, you have to roll beat to the TV's drum, the producer's drum. You've got to go, right, we've got 3 minutes, you've got to be on now, and it's people screaming at you, you've got earpieces, it's anyway. So I roll up to do the presentations, and I'm calling out the names, and then they say, hey, there's no audio. It's not working. So the sound guy, he's there in the black T-shirt. He's sweating it up. He's pulling cables out, putting them back in. The TV guy there with the camera and the producer's screaming at him, oh, what's going on? We've got to fucking go. We've got to be on. What's happening? And in the end, they told the sound guy, oh, we're running out of time. Just stop it. Jethro, mate, you're just going to have to yell. And I had to yell to the TV, so I had to use my voice, no sound, nothing, and
poor you.
And they had the live TV camera on me as I'm like stretching the voice. It was a shit show. So hopefully not. It wasn't anyone's fault, but it was just an accident because the sound messed up. But it is kind of funny story.
Shit happens, but that is funny. Poor you with your voice.
Hey, it's a big week. Now, Julian Baudry, he got the job done from Alpine, of course, the great man out of the Bright region. Fergus Browning, he just left his run too late, got caught out with just probably not being in the right moves early enough in the race. Mm-hmm. Jack Clark was there in third. He was kind of played his cards the best of the chasing group. Now, I remember last year, the under-23 men's, it just kept splitting up, and moves got ahead, moves got brought back.
It was a hard race. This was a very hard race from looking on from it. There was no settle period, was there?
There wasn't, and we were looking at big favourites like, of course, Fergus Browning was the hot favourite as the returning champ the year before, and also Will Holmes. They just didn't follow those early breaks, and it left them with not enough time to bring back Baudry, who was in the early move, and he proved to have the endurance to just keep charging away, and Browning never caught him. So I think, just like the U19 men's, they learned a lesson. The big favourites, you can't sit back and go, oh, it'll come back to me. You just don't know. You got to spend those bickies and just make sure you're up towards the front. Otherwise, the race will disappear in front of you.
That's a twin-edged sword, though. You have to bide your time. And to be honest,
but Fergus and Will they bode their time, and they were left with not enough course left to chase.
Yeah, and I think that this is kind of the first time racing on the course. They underestimated the course, I think, a little bit.
It's true.
And I think they
did.
Underestimated that a minute gap, you can't just shut that down so quickly.
Yep.
And I think the elite women should have been paying more attention. The under-23 women should have been paying more attention to what happened in the under-23 men's race and how that resulted, because they just weren't able to close the gap down to Julian, and maybe they underestimated him as well. He's a really class bike rider.
For sure.
And his ability to push on, and obviously being in a situation where he just wanted to ride, that was his dream situation. But I think that it was just the course. I think they underestimated it. You can't take time back on this course.
Yeah, it's a great call. You just can't. You can't take time back. It's got to be, a 15, 20-second gap, if, unless the rider ahead is obviously, destroyed and physically cracking. Now, the U23 men's start list is absolutely chock-a-block with some real talent. We've got Julian Baudry returning. We've got my man Jackson Medway from Medway Trucking Services, with his younger brother Fletcher in there as well, who's a bit younger. Jack Ward is going to be interesting to see how the young man went. Of course, he won the Pro Velo Super Medium League, and he won that. Didn't take the contract because he already sorted one with Lidl Trek. Let's hope he doesn't do mountain biking. Is Connor Wright in here as well?
Yes.
He must be in here.
Yes, he is.
You look that up. If Connor Wright is racing, he must be. Of course, he's racing. Freak Show, he's going to be up there as well. Hayden Stevens, Max Gould, first year under 23. Will Holmes, of course, he's coming back. He'll want this title as a top ender. Tyler Tompkinson, Sam Washington, Josh Cranage. Some of the names we picked out, we think they're going to be the ones that will be up and about. Jack Ward's going to like that hill. he is going to have to wait to the last lap to go, because it's not as if he's going to go solo and peg around this course where you need a bit of horsepower on the flats to stay away. He's going to need to just wait and go last, follow the moves, and go on the last lap with that punch and climbing ability, Tommy.
Mate, the computer's working slow. It's working overtime over here, but I cannot find him in the under 20.
Oh, he has to be. He has
to
no,
be,
he's still under 19.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's last year under 19.
Well, he'll win the U19 race then.
I think so.
That's why. That's what we're not seeing. Okay, so Connor Wright, forget that. He'll win U19 men's road race.
One of those names on the outer as well. First year under 23. That I like. Did you mention him?
Yeah, I did mention him. Yeah, and Josh Cranage. Yep. Yeah, we mentioned how this race plans out. Wins.
I'm going Medway.
Yeah, the big lad.
Yeah, I reckon he does the double. I think he wins the TT and he wins the roadie.
Wow, the double. I like it. Okay, well,
I just want to put it out there.
Good. I think Jack Ward gets this one.
Okay.
And I'd like to see him get it as well. Yep. Although you probably never see the jersey, but that's all right. It's still good. Women's elite and under 23.
Super Sunday.
With the start list, I think we could have had a U23 only race here, Tommy. I think it's time. Even let's say, okay, maybe they say under 23 women's that we can't. There's not enough numbers to have their own race yet. Well, why don't if you just build it, they will come. If you just give them their own dedicated race, well, then you probably will get a lot more women who are in the under 23 category signing up to start, because they're not racing against Ruby Roseman Gannon. You know, you're going to get more numbers if you give it their own category, rather than saying, well, or thinking that when there's enough U23s, we'll give them their own category. They should be doing the other way around, because what we're left with, Tom, is an elite U23 combined race that is 109 kilometres in length. That is not long enough. I mean, riders like Roseman Gannon, riders like, well, all of them, they all ride 109 Ks when they're getting out of bed.
Yeah, I think it's time. I'm in agreement with you. And this is something I touched on earlier, just with the numbers in the crit. You know, in your under 23 women here, you've got just less than 30 riders. In your elite women, just a smidge under 50. So I'd have to look at the numbers that maybe what they were getting at Ballarat before really making a comprehensive call on it. But I think it's something that ultimately you look at it. Maybe they could run the two races separately, but at the same time.
So stagger them?
Yeah, stagger them. So then you get a clean race. And I think on a course like this, the course is long enough and big enough that commissaires could handle that potentially.
Maybe it's time to change the age groups. Under 19 and U21. I think that's what they do on mountain bike.
Yeah, it could work.
Because U23, I mean, our elites these days are going World Tour 19. You know, like we said, the sports move forward a lot. But last year, it was a good race for the breakaway, but it was a stinker for the entire race, because we saw the break of Lucinda Stewart for Jayco, Livalula, Ella Simpson, and for Auburn 93, Home Preference Homes. Yep. Cassia Boggio, Caitlin Nicholson, real nice time trialist, and Sophia Salmons, of course, another great time trialist. They rode away. They were the smartest riders. They knew if you get a Livalula in there, you're going to the line, because the Jayco just shut it down behind. Some riders tried to attack
it's
late.
It's actually fascinating. I heard from in the car, and out of the Livalula Jayco situation, that Lucinda Stewart was actually saying, like, I'm not good. I'm not well.
Yes, that's right.
I'm and they sort of bluffed their way through this scenario. And initially, I think that they weren't too happy with the situation as well, with just having Lucinda there. So they sort of rolled the dice, and Lucinda was able to kind of say, well, no, I'm not going to work, because I've got all my team behind me who's going to come across. And sort of leverage that big Jayco card, so to speak. We'll call it maybe the camper van card. But yeah, it was a fascinating one, wasn't it? This breakaway just worked really cohesively. They were able to get away. They stayed away. And I think the gap got maybe to less than a minute from behind. The chase, it wasn't a chase from the peloton. It was just
attacks.
Repeated attack.
That never went anywhere.
And they just didn't have the firepower to get across if they were coming in ones and twos.
Yep.
So You watch, this race will be a little bit different this year, I think.
It will, and I think if it is in that way, if it is a different race and we see no breaks really get let off, then we're going to see that attritional race that we get left with, the big favourites only. We might get left with 15 or 10 riders with 3 laps to go, and we'll see really the best of the best get to go throw their haymakers on that last lap. Now, the big favourites first. Let's go through the favourites. We've got Amanda Spratt, we've got Brodie Chapman, we've got Ruby Roseman Gannon, Alex Manley, Neve Bradbury. She is here. Anya Lowe and Alyssa Pilates, the big elites. And the under-23s, we're looking at Amelia Sanders, Sophia Salmons, Coupland, Talia Appleton, and Lucinda Stewart, of course, is back as one of the big U23 favourites. It's all combined. So let's pick our fastest finisher for the U23, because really, when we read out those names, every name we read out there is probably going to be in the top 10. You know, it's not as if our U23s are 10 minutes off the pace. They are as good as the elites. So
they are, and also to complicate things even further, the under-23 Live a Little with the Jayco riders, they will be riding in service of the senior riders. So straight from the gun, like, they will not care for the under-23 result. They, and this is rightly so, as the World Tour team, their only priority is to take the jersey back to Europe. Really? So when you, absolutely. So even like Coupland.
Well, she's part of the World Tour now.
Yeah, exactly. So there'd be no bias there, but the under-23 podium is just a secondary thought.
And I don't think those riders care about it either. They're after the elite title. Correct. Of course, after we've seen Gigante, we've seen Stewart take the title as a U23. I mean, you know, do we need it? I don't know. You guys tell us. Now, who's going to win, Tommy? This is where I still think, as much as riders can learn their lesson, I don't think they will. And I think we'll see another breakaway with a level of the rider in the break. Same numbers. We'll see Sophia again. We'll see Caitlin Nicholson again. It'll go up the road. It'll be good night. Alyssa Pilates will be in there, and she'll take the win.
Okay, wow. You're going Alyssa. Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
I think you could see a little bit more of an emergence of, say, Spratt and Chapman this year. Spratt was really driving it towards the tail end of that race. She was really aggressive. She had 2 teammates, I think, Hansen and I'm forgetting someone.
She had Hansen for sure.
I'm forgetting
Felicity.
Someone. And Felicity, of course. I think they'll be aggressive again. But, you know, I'll go an outside. I'll go an outside hitter. I reckon maybe even Anya Lowe could get away and win.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be. I feel like Anya, I reckon everybody listening would know. Yeah, you'd love to see someone like Anya get the victory, because she's a workhorse. She just goes after it, and you know, she'll be there with Alex Manley, and they'll be up and about. So interesting. Who are your picks for the elite and elite women's and U23s? Of course, the other categories as well. Let us know in the comments, or just ping us on social media. Now, the elite men's. This is where we're on to Sunday, by the way. Tommy and I, if you're watching live on the Super Sunday, we will be on the main hill on Malcolm Street. We've got a huge audio. They set up a big audio setup. So we'll be there. There's a DJ.
Do we have a stage this year?
I hope so, because it's hot as fuck. We were just on the mountains. We were just on the road. It was really good. We'll be commentating, so look out for us. We'll give you the action and the tip, and in between, as we're waiting for the riders to come back around, we have a bit of fun, don't we? Roadside style. Last year's race was a cracker. The men's race was a cracker. We got the best of both worlds. We got a strong break, and then we got the attrition of Malcolm Street every time with the peloton. Durbridge won in WA in amazing fashion. Luke Plapp, the gift. Let him have it. He did. Let's not beat around the bush. He gave him a gift that you'll never forget. And Liam Walsh beat our man Brady Gilmore for that 3rd place on the podium.
Yeah, he got away. Just sort of jumped him on the final climb, and Brady Gilmore just couldn't he mopped up the remnants. He was nicknamed in the dustpan. He just sort of swept up the last offerings, so to speak. Really good race, wasn't it? I expect much of the same again from Jayco. I really do. You know, I have a look at that. They lose Chris Harper out of their lineup. He's riding for Q36.5 now. Yeah. He's been ever consistent at Nationals. He's always been there on the podium.
Let's see if his knee's strapped up. Precisely. Old Harper, we heard his knee is just a little bit... his knees, he may be 32 years old, but apparently his knee is 200 years old.
Now, what do you think? I think Jayco have to ride this from the front again. I think they're going to look to try and put more numbers in a breakaway.
Well, who have they got? They've got Rudy Porter, they've got Kell O'Brien, they've got Durbridge. They've got Hamish McKenzie. They've got Plapp and, of course, O'Connor. So you've got Plapp and O'Connor probably maybe Kell, maybe quasi leader or breakaway.
No, I think those three are the leaders.
Fuck, 3 leaders. I mean, that leaves Rudy, McKenzie, and Durbo a bit of work to do.
Well, it's the nature of nationals, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, we've seen them sort of swap, haven't we, Jaco, from just riding the front and having all those big names, that, like.
They used to have like 9 riders though as well.
Yeah, precisely. You know when you'd see it at Ballarat and they'd be riding for Gerrans and they'd have 10 riders on the front just pulling on the peloton. That won't be the case. They'll have 1 rider in the breakaway, like Durbridge again if they can, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 2.
Okay.
And then the rest is kind of monitor and follow the situation. That's their ideal scenario. To try and unsettle that, there's no other real team with numbers.
No, there's not. It's all individuals. So it's all journeymen.
It's not just that. It's handshake agreements of like, we're in a break, let's go, and making moves. And that's what I'm going to really look out to keep an eye out for nationals. Yeah.
We know that Luke Plapp, when it comes to a race like this, we saw it with nationals. He's the number 1 favourite. He's the number $1 favourite. We saw it last year. It was too easy. He chipped across when Durbo was there. He towed him around for a lap, and then, of course, he let him have the win. It was great. Plapp is near unbeatable on this course. I asked him...
Unbeatable?
Well, yeah. Against this lineup, but there is someone who can beat him. But I asked him this morning. I said, mate, how's the form going? We're doing the pod today. And he said, what are you out of 100? And he said, I'm all in. He's all in. The TT leg's a little bit shaky. But the road legs are very, very good. There were some swear words in there. So we know that how patriotic Plapp is. He wants to win this race.
Yep.
He's a big favourite. He's got the team to do it. But there is one man who can, if they fuck it up, Jaco, there's one man who can get the chockies over it. And we talked to him 2 weeks ago. The boy from Kalgoorlie. Everybody's wondering, Tommy. Everybody is wondering, this outside favourite, this mystery boy, how good can he be? How can he win this race?
Yeah, Brady Gilmore, he's got to have the right scenario in the finale, doesn't he? He's got to have a small, reduced group where he's not disadvantaged by numbers. Because last year we saw it straight away as well, and I think he kind of maybe learnt a lesson.
He missed the
where
wheel.
Liam Walsh was able to jump away.
Yep. He said he missed he was actually behind 2 riders behind Plapp, and he missed it because the 2 riders ahead lost the wheel. Mm-hmm. This is, and for those who don't know what Brady's sort of power profile is really like, this hill, his power on his hill on the hill. His power on this hill is he's got the biggest. If they just went and did the KOM test right now, he would win it. He would win it. That is his power profile. He can do a minute. I think he's got the higher power than anyone else in the race. It's just whether or not he can do that after fighting off Jaco's strength of numbers and holding on to Plapp, who can do that power all day long. So he can do it, mate. It's just a question of, if Jaco make a mistake, they've got to be switched on.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a host of individual riders. The likes of Oscar Chamberlain. He steps up into men's elite riding for Decathlon. So, as the classics rider, there's a host of individual names, like even like
Matt Dinham.
And
Matt
Mr.
Dinham is
well
here. He's come back from the dead.
Yep.
Now, I also messaged him today because we did a great podcast after he finished 8th in the World Championships. Did it down in Geraldton, actually. Boy, isn't that a place you're not racing back to, but it was absolutely. If you live in Gerald, we do love Gerald. Matty said that he was 50 out of 100. Form-wise, going into China at the end of the year, old Gongji, and he said, maybe I'm sitting about 75. I don't think so. We know what bike races are like. They pour cold water over their form all day long. He's 100 over 100. He's all in. He's finished 8th in one of the hardest World Championship circuits when he's pinging. I think Matthew Dinham is going to be a real podium chance.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to try and grab every race day by the scruff of the neck going into 2026. So keep an eye out for him in the picnic kit. Still don't know what it looks like either.
He'll be on that fucking lappy air. Those stinking bikes, they are terrible. But
bastards.
the poor guy, just don't ever. I'm going to call him Mr. Hocker because we know he loves to run. The great man. So I really, honestly, we want to see Dinham do well because he's a great dude. And I think this course, just like Brady, suits him a lot.
It does.
Chris Harper, he'll be in the Q36.5 with a 400-year-old knee. We love Harper. Interested to see how he goes. Agnoletto. Oliver Bledon.
Too hard for Agnoletto and Bledon.
They were top 10 last year, or top 11.
They were there, but
That's pretty
I
good.
think they were
A year
fingertips,
on?
mate. They were fingertips.
I know. Okay. Anyone else there? What about Kel? Is he a chance?
I think Kel's a big chance. I think the course suits Kel.
He could be the one they send in the break.
No way. Kel's the sort of guy who chips across. You play as the late card. If anything, Connor's the one who chips across, and Plapp and O'Brien sit in.
Well, we had Ben the other day. We forgot to ask him how his form is going.
It's going
Out of
it's
100,
building.
what number would you say he would say?
Oh, there's pure speculation here, eh?
Well, how was he going New Year's Eve? Was he on the waters or was he on the sparkling beverages?
No, he was well behaved.
Okay, so he's looking good for nationals then. I saw him.
He was up riding this morning.
How's his
I had to go
legs?
get my car.
He looked like a salami. There was veins and shit everywhere. So he's looking very good, the great man. So
he'll be going well. He wants to win. He's actually spoken about the passion as well of wanting to try and win here on home nationals. Good friends with Luke. He's seen Luke roll around in the kit all year. He could,
getting the junkets.
He would like it, mate.
He wants the junkets.
Yeah, they want it.
Luke's been rolled out for all the city of Perth.
Would you say in public on Boxing Day public, you're rocking the white skin suit, the white bibs?
He's there for the opening of the Motorplex, our new speedway in Burswood for our new Criterium track, right next to Optus, greatest stadium in the world. You want those junkets, so yes. So let us know, who do you think, can anyone beat Plapp? Can anyone beat Jaco? Is our boy from Kalgoorlie? You're going Kel.
Yep.
The great man.
Yep.
Oh, I'd love to see it. He's a stylish man, and he's got to get a few jerseys because Ali's lifting a lot of the heavy wood over there. She's a superstar. Kel, mate, we need you to just get a couple and say, hey, I've got my talents as well. So I like that pick. I'm going Plapp. I'm going 4-time Plapp winner. I'm going Brady Gilmore second. I'm going our man, Matty Denham, in third for a resurrection. He's back in 2026.
I would love to see that.
We really would.
Love to see him on the podium.
He's a great guy. Yeah.
You reckon you're going to be able to do a pod at the end of the night?
I tell you what, we're going to need some encouragements. We're going to need some hand-ups on Super Sunday as well. We're going to need some hand-ups. We've got work on Monday, 4 days of work, and then we're across to Tour Down Under. Those 4 days of work, mate, I tell you what.
I don't think I made it in on Monday last year.
Don't go to any parks in the city of Armidale because if you want to mowed freshly, I'm not going to care because I'm just going to be thinking about Tour Down Under. So Nationals is coming. Before we wrap up, make sure you do check out Society, Roadside 15. Check out our Roadside Selects, the Port Wine Women's with the Bone jersey, and the All Black Elevate. That is the premium kit if you want to support us. Roadside 15, 15% off. Tommy, it is January 1st. Happy New Year 2026.
Put me to bed.
Put you to bed.
Just put me to bed. Pull the shutters down. Put me to bed.
And we'll be back for after the first day of time trialing on the 7th of January.